episode 4. We're here with the boy, a very special guest.
Haha.
Who is it, Dad? Britt Brown?
Britt Brown. Yep.
You know, some people don't know why I call you Britt Brown in public, but I just call you Britt Brown because it's too good of a name to not say.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, it's distinctive.
Yes.
I doubt seriously if you'll ever meet another one.
Another Britt Brown, that's for sure hell not, but like...
Yeah. I've met a couple of Brits in my life, and I mean like 2. And I'm almost 70, so, I hardly ever have, So, but Britt Brown? No, never. So...
It's the one-syllable names that, like, is pretty, like, famous sounding, I'd say. Like, Britt Brown, one syllable, like, that's pretty cool. Like, I like when people say Cole Brown, because if it was, like, Christopher Brown, it'd be boring as hell. Because it's too many syllables, too much for the brain to handle. You know what I mean?
I guess it depends on your brain.
Yeah.
I sort of like long names because I don't have one.
Yeah. Well, we like what we don't have, I guess.
I suppose, yeah.
So the first topic I wanted to talk to you about was this name change and the throwback to how this podcast kind of started. So we just changed names, and I told you the new name of it. It's called this podcast's new name is the Ins and Outs podcast. But it changed from Age Gap, and that started because it was mine and your podcast at first.
Sure.
But I think Ins and Outs is a cool name. I really liked Age Gap, but I feel like it needed to change because it's not just me and you doing it anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
And this was not really my choice. Like, I wanted to change it, and I'm down to change it, but I also had an attachment to Age Gap. But people said that they wanted it changed, and you even said it. You're like, not that you wanted it changed necessarily, but you're like, if it's not going to be me and you anymore all the time, you might as well change it so it's like more diverse, I guess.
Sure. Well, any endeavor has these lefts and rights you turn. I mean, you start somewhere, and you have to, when it evolves, you have to be flexible, So Age Gap suggests something. We're talking about subjects years apart, people who are years apart, how we respond. But now you've morphed the podcast into something else, so it's appropriate to change the name. I like it.
Yeah, I do like it too. You said in the car when we were talking about it before I changed the name, and you're like, well, I think you said something about like a sports car brand. You're like, the hot rod, if it was a magazine, would be about cars. Like, you just know. Like, the age gap suggests that there's going to be an age gap.
Sure.
Of course. I mean, of course it does. But, yeah, I just had an attachment because I thought it was a fire name. And it is. It's a good name.
Well, I think it was appropriate when it was just you and I, and we were going to talk about subjects, how we relate to things.
Yeah.
But like I say, like any good idea or good anything, a relationship, it evolves, it morphs. It's appropriate to change the name. It's completely fine, So, yeah.
And also, like I said, hold the mic like close to your mouth like this, like so it's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you take it far away, it just
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have the name change controversy, and then the next thing, I posted this thing on Instagram, on the Ins and Outs Instagram, and I posted, put topics and questions for Britt Brown and I's podcast, because they were
Good
filming
idea.
one night. And one of our friends, Kennedy, said that she wanted to ask about like being a substitute at the school. Like, tell us a little bit about that. Like, do you like that a lot? Do you not like that? What?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm semi-retired, and I wanted something to do, and since, I've got you in my life, and you're a teenager, late teenager, I have gotten to know a lot of your pals. I wanted to do anything I could to kind of contribute or share information, and the high school thing came up, and I decided to go for it, and it's been over a year now, and I enjoy it. The bottom line is I like kids, particularly the ones that can be expressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't like all kids, but who does? But, I enjoy mixing it up with some of the ones and some of the ones you don't know, It's been kind of a trip.
Yeah. No, it's fun. And everybody likes you, too. Like, whenever you're in school, they're like, is Britt Brown today? Where's he teaching? I'm like, Domus. They're like, let's go. They get hype. They really like it because I think you just treat everyone like an adult, basically.
Well, that's the thing. I don't try to do anything. I just am myself.
Yes.
And when I was coming along 1,000 years ago, adults or semi-adults that treated me like a peer, I responded to positively. I'll always remember it. Whereas if I was talked down to, even when you're little, you notice they're talking down to you. So I just try to be myself. I'm not really attempting to do anything. I just, they're people, and I just treat them like people, as long as they are, can communicate, can express themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's real fun. And it's fun for me, too, because you get to meet my friends, and you get to meet the people who I don't have over, because, I don't really have anybody over that much. But, you get to meet the people who I would have never brought over, so the people who are just in the class, the people who I have lunch with sometimes, the people who, do stuff like that. You get to meet the entire crowd, which is awesome for me and you.
I like it, and it's been a long time since I've been in school, and I remember back, though, that a whole lot of the people I went to school with, I never really talked too much. I just had my 5 or 6 or 12 or whatever, 15 acquaintances who were close. But so it's kind of fun to get to know the whole cross section, everybody. And really, I just like the kids. I try to help them any way I can. And they treat me well, and it's actually kind of fun for me.
Yeah. When I go away to college, do you think you'll continue to sub, or do you not think you will?
If they need me, I will. If they don't need me so much, I won't. I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, but I'm willing to do it.
Yeah. Well, then that could be nuts, because then you would know a lot of people that I'd have no idea who are. Maybe not in the first year, in freshman year for me in college, but sophomore year and junior year, dude, I'm not going to know the freshman and sophomore class, and I don't even really know the freshman class right now that well.
Well, one benefit I have there is that when I was teaching at middle school, I knew some of these kids.
Oh, yeah.
So I recognize a whole bunch of them, and so that's kind of been helpful to me in that regard. Now that they're in high school, I recognize them, and they recognize me. But it's still building new relationships, and I don't know. I think I'll continue it if they want me. As soon as they don't need me or don't want me, I'm out.
I think it's fun, though. It keeps you on your toes, because a lot of stuff happens in high school that would not really happen. It would definitely not happen just being at the house or walking around. You're not going to see or meet these young people and their lives and what they're doing, which is awesome.
Well, that's right. And, just like they regard adults the same way I regard them as young adults, and that is, some are more interesting than others. Some are more fun than others. Some are more communicative. Some are friendlier. Some are trouble, just like some adults are trouble. And so we both kind of navigate the path together, and we'll make friends if we try, and if we don't try, we won't. We'll just, like most people, just pass like two ships in the night. But I do like a lot of the people, and I like the other teachers too. They're swell,
Yeah. What you said right there, you're saying something along. It sparked the thought of old friends and stuff like that, because you're like, oh, I remember. It was some people when they're kids, they're kind of funny, or they're themselves. The dog's coming up. And when they get old, they're the same thing. So you have the ones who are funny, and they stay funny.
Definitely.
And they have the ones who are kind of a handful, and they stay a handful. And when I realized that people aren't really necessarily going to change. Regarding college, this is the first thing I ask some people. I'm like, have you applied? Are you going to apply? And they're not even saying anything. They're like, I don't know. It's like that I don't know attitude, or that's just going to stick with them. But if they're a person who gets it done and is going to continue to get it done, they're going to continue to get it done.
Absolutely.
It's not just going to magically change.
Sure. Yeah. No. Hey, college, now that you've mentioned that, that's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know anybody that went to college that didn't enjoy it on some level.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of them I know didn't make it through, but the year or two they spent there, they enjoyed. But I mean, it's just a rare time of your life. That's all. It's you're gonna really get something out of it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. If I go to Oregon State, Travis was telling me that you can be a RA or resident assistant or residential assistant, whatever it is, the first year. Maybe it was just last year because they had like a lack of RAs. But if that's offered to me, I definitely want to do that because that's going to keep me out of trouble, because it's going to keep me from the drinking so much. It's going to keep me from doing all these things. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I want to have fun and all that stuff for sure, but I just don't want to push the limit too much to where it's negative and it's making my grades fail or whatever.
Oh, I think you're right on. But let me give you just a little bit of a nugget of information. This is really something I didn't know, but when you take on more responsibility, it helps develop you. I mean, it's fun. Sometimes you earn money by doing it, but it's fun and you can handle it. So being an RA, there'll be a few things you have to do, but really, it's gonna put you in a position where it makes you a better person, and that's why more people should take on more responsibility. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some that aren't up to it, but you're up to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
And you get to meet everybody, much like my subbing position. If you're an RA, you're going to meet every kid on that floor.
Exactly. That's it. So I'll meet everybody. It's not going to be some like crazy way I meet them. I'll like actually formally introduce myself, maybe or not, or just say what's up to them. But then I like actually get to know everybody, and I might not be the best of friends, but they'll at least know my name and I'll know theirs. Mm-hmm. And like I can be a friendly face, and they can be a friendly face in my experience too.
Absolutely.
So it's just like for me and them, it's all bettering the system. You know? It'll be lit.
Yeah.
So I got the third mic. The third mic came in, and last night I was in the shop downstairs, and I had to disassemble the arm because the mic came with a thing that clipped on the table.
Yeah.
And then would come down and extend, and so you could rotate it. But the thing is that I should have tested it before, because I tested it after I disassembled the whole damn thing, and then the mic, the cable didn't work.
Oh.
It was just glitchy, which was annoying. But we ordered the new one. It's coming, and then we're going to move this entire setup over there, which the camera can't see, but it's across the room from us.
Yeah.
And we're going to move all this stuff, put it there, take a chair up, and then we'll have 3 mics going. It'll be lit.
That'll be nice to have another person here. And you get different opportunities for conversation when there's another human being, talking and sharing. So it's going to be great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Have you already given some thought to that, sort of how it's going to work with 3 people?
Yeah, I think it may be a little chaotic at first, but I think it'll dive down and we'll learn how to work it.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun. We have a bunch of people who want to be on the podcast.
Do you? Okay.
Like the wait list, like if we actually do every single one, which I wish I want to do, but some people might not want to or whatever. We have like not 7 or 8 episodes. So like that's 7 or 8 weeks. So that's 2 months of people who want to be on it. Mm-hmm. And you know that when you start doing it, more people are going to want to. But also we can get a lot of people by doing 2 at a time now.
Sounds great. Yeah.
So it'll be really fun. We'll talk about a lot of stuff. A lot of funny stuff will happen. But at the end of the day, it's just about making this and having fun.
Sure. Conversations.
It is. The dog's eyeing you.
Yeah, the dog did come in. Have a somewhat demanding dog, and yet all dogs are demanding. Mm-hmm. So he's not more or less. He wants stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm. In this TBCC class that I'm taking, we had to do introductions, and we talked about like ourselves, a little bit about our family, the pets. And I said, I have a dog. He's 10 years old, but he doesn't really do much. And when I wrote it back out and I read that, I thought it was funny. So I'm laughing at my own thing, whatever. It was funny because Lucky's just such a funny kind of dog. Like he doesn't really do much. He just sits around and blinks, kind of.
Yeah, he's really like a Yoda. He's very thoughtful. He's super deep. He just doesn't express himself to everybody like some dogs do. He's very sensitive. Yeah, that's why I like him. He's very sensitive, and if you can't get quiet and spend a little time with him quiet, he'll never be your friend, and you'll never really think much of him. But once you spend a little time with him, there's a lot there. It's very much like people. I mean, a lot of kids and a lot of adults too kind of are invisible until you spend some time with them, and then they reveal themselves, and you realize, hey, there's quite a bit there.
Mm-hmm.
That's something else I find through substitute teaching is I get to talk to some kids that I really probably wouldn't. They're not necessarily talkative or out there or first in line type of kids, and so and dogs are that way too. You have to kind of, some come right up to you, and some you have to go up to them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he does more than you think he does in a day. Trust me. But between squirrels and mailmen and no, he's busy. Yeah, he's busy.
Well, maybe I just at school I don't see it.
Yeah.
Brody asked about a future guest of the podcast. He asked, Britt Brown, where do you get your fashion inspiration from? When you rock that conductor's cap and the glasses, like it's just like iconic.
Huh.
So where do you get that inspiration from? Is there an inspirational guy or
Oh, that's funny. If you know me, you know that there would be no inspirational guy. But I just I look back more than I look forward, good or bad. And I was formed in the 1950s and 60s. I mean, sure, I've had changes since then. But if I have a fashion sense or something I'm interested in or something I like, it started way back there. So really, I'm kind of iconoclastic, or I'm really in the past. So I'm comfortable with what I'm comfortable with. So if I like corduroys, if I like sweaters, if I like a certain type of hat, trust me, I've been wearing that my whole life. So it's nothing new. So in fact, I'm pretty boring in that regard, I think I'd have to say. But I'm good with it. And as older I get, I realize it's just, if I'm good with it, then the heck with everybody. I mean, who's going to say anything, I don't comment on their fashion. It's like, whatever. But I just try to be comfortable. So I don't really have an inspiration. If I do, it would go back to the 60s and, Beatles, Rolling Stones, that kind of stuff. However they dressed, however I thought was cool, if you will. I just started wearing clothes that way. And I think clothes look better on a person who's comfortable in them. So I could put on something really cool, something really Hollywood, thousands of dollars of gear and bling and stuff, but I wouldn't be comfortable in it. So it wouldn't really look that good on me. Oh, I'd make a statement, but you got to be comfortable in what you wear. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. I think it just fits you so well. I think that's why people like it.
Oh.
Not like fits you as in like physically fits you, but like you were just saying, like you feel comfortable in it, you own it, and it's just like, it's dope. Because a lot of people, nowadays kind of dress, if it's really intense, they kind of dress for like eyes and compliments. But yours gets compliments, but that's because it's just so authentic and like dope.
I don't know. I think if you looked at pictures of me at 15 or 18, you might be surprised. I might have the same clothes on. I don't mean literally, but I'd be wearing very similar stuff, So it's not really an effort on my part. It's just, it's just who I am, My outside matches my inside. And that is just the reality of who I am, where you can't say that about everybody at all. A lot of people are real pretenders, and it is about the show. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm really not about the show. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, that kind of, how you said Bob Dylan and Beatles, that inspiration, it leads to the question of like the music thing today, like the music culture today. Someone asked about this. I think it was Jesus. Yeah, it was Jesus Gonzalez.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to ask about like the current state of music, like right now to you as like your generation. How do you feel about that? So like the Kanyes, the Eminems, maybe the Lil Pumps, Like, how do you feel about that? And, like, relating it to your experience with music.
Yeah, well, somewhat of a dangerous subject because I might put some people off, but I think it's fairly pathetic today. I mean, there's definitely talent. Don't get me wrong. I mean, geez, there's talent. It's just so many people have found a formula to create the dance music or the rap or whatever it is, or even the country music or whatever. They found a formula, and as long as they stay within that vein, they make money and they're popular. And there's nothing wrong with that. But where I come from is more about artistic expression and inspiration. And so it's not everybody I knew growing up knew how to play instruments, okay? But today, so many people don't. And I'm not saying that makes the music bad or good. I just mean today it's a creation very different in its inception than it was for my generation. And so I'm not saying I only like old music or anything, but I like music that expresses the person on some level, or the feeling. And it can be nonverbal, of course, jazz, etc. But the music today is a little bit like a bludgeon. It's just hard to listen to. I mean, you listen to it, it can be funny or interesting, or you mentioned Eminem. I mean, sure, that when he first came on the scene and he had some of that, I enjoyed it, but would I want to listen to it? Or like, no. If I'm going to put something in my earphones or go take a run or something to music, it's going to be something older. That's just the way it is for me, I'm not putting anybody down who performs today. I'm not trying to, but I just don't think much of it, quite frankly.
Yeah, and I wonder how my generation is going to think about the music when we're your age, so like in 2040 or something, 2050.
Oh, well, I mean, let's just say the music is going to be some tones, just some highs and some lows delivered electronically, and it has some beat to it, but it's just completely synthesized. Let's just say that's what it is. It's just very no human touch, just really machine music. It might leave you a little cold, and that generation might say, "Man, get with it. This is really cool." So it depends, but you may have a hard time accessing it. That's all. And then again, you might just dig it. Maybe it won't morph. Maybe the music 40 years from now will be very much like the music today. Maybe just new names. Who knows? Yeah.
Well, I think that there are some overlaps from your generation that continue into mine.
Yeah.
Like there are people who are kind of like Bob Dylan types or like Beatle types. They don't get as much recognition because that stuff's been done before. But there's a lot of people who also do know how to play music, but definitely not as many as there were,
Right.
Like, I respect somebody if they know how to play an instrument because that means that like they're either raised well, what I deem as well, or like it's just like a cool talent that you have. Like you've taken the time to learn something.
Yeah. And I don't want to make too much of that. Like you have to be proficient at a piano. No. But I guess it has to do with this artistry and this musicality. That's what I like. And if it's all about just dancing and jiving and putting people down and using a lot of derogatory or swear words all the time, and that's how you get your money and your people listening to you, that just really kind of leaves me really out. But that's okay. Like I said before, I'm iconoclastic. I mean, I don't even like new movies. It's a bone of contention for me and your mom. I'm not going to go crazy about movies, but it's very much like the music thing. I like the older ones,
Mm-hmm.
So that's just how it is. Because they're expressive, because they're artistic. That's why. It's not just because they're in black and white or something.
Yeah. Interesting. The last topic that I want to talk about. The episode's kind of been short. Is there anything you want to talk about before I get into it?
No. It's your podcast, man. I mean, I
want to talk about whatever. If you have any dying things.
No, we're good.
All right. So the last topic was so Amani. This is kind of like a big topic, so I'll just start here.
Okay.
Amani is coming. Amani.
Yeah.
Remember, she's coming back to Oregon, not to live here, but she's just coming back to visit Nina, right? And then me and Nina are going to hang out with probably Amani.
Okay.
And you know how Amani now lives in California?
Yeah, yeah.
For the viewers listening, it's one of our friends who used to live here, moved to Cali, close to where I used to live, and she hung out with the people who I used to like hang out with. So she hung out with the Joeys, the Aidens, like whatever.
Sure. So she overlapped with your old friends in California.
But without my help. That's the craziest hell thing. It wasn't because I said anything. It was because like they kind of just randomly found each other on Snapchat and they started hanging out. It's like, how insane is that?
Well, you know, where we came from is a fairly small community. People get to know each other. Much like this community we're in here, it's pretty small. You know, we were coming from South Lake Tahoe, but 3 or 4 or 5 years there, you've met everybody. And certainly where we live, it wouldn't take that long.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not crazy random. I mean, it seems random, but there's only so many people you get along with. So if she gets along with you and likes your sensibilities, it makes sense she might like some of your old pals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I am very happy that we moved from there, though.
Yeah.
Because the first, and I saw Joey commented on one of these podcasts. Can you believe that?
Crazy.
Which is pretty nuts, but whatever. I was like kind of like addicted to like the old friends that I used to have there. That's what I mean. Like I'm happy that I'm away from all that, because when you're hanging around kind of like people who are doing like not good shit, like smoking, vaping, drinking,
Sure.
doing dumb shit that I deem as stupid shit now, and just kind of wasting your life. And sure, you're having fun doing parties and stuff, but it's like to an extent. Like I feel like if I still lived there, I'd be doing the same stupid shit that I was doing in 8th grade. I knew that you disagree with this because you think I'd like would be who I am now. But I definitely would not be as good of a person if I stayed there. And I'm 100% truthful in that, because I was just addicted to all those things that a person who is an idiot kind of is addicted to. You know, that's why I don't talk to those people anymore, because they're bad people.
They're not bad people.
I think that they're pretty bad people.
I don't. I think what it is, I mean, that's fine you think that, but they're not.
Well, I don't think
they're just
my life would not be how good it is right now if it was because of that.
I'll grant.
So I think they were holding me back from being good because they had their stupid ideology. And like now I'm past that shit and I'm good. And like I wouldn't post stuff on social media, or like I was trying to like be something for somebody else, which was them. You know, so you can say that that was my fault, but I think it was the entire environment.
Well, maybe another subject for another podcast would be peer pressure and how we respond to it. But one thing I will say is you're older now.
Yeah.
And you may not respond to the same influences you did when you were in the 5th, 6th grade. So the thing about it is you kind of sell yourself short a little bit, but I used to do that too. And by that I mean you might be stronger than you know, and you could have grown up there and stayed there and even go back and spend time there again and not fall into those same traps. It's completely possible. However, we do get influenced by the people around us. We do.
Yeah, well, I definitely wouldn't do that same stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely have fun with them or whatever, like, but I wouldn't hang out with them and like I was talking I think to my literal self, like I was like trying to think about.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody about, I think I was just kind of thinking. And it's about like it is the environment that you stay in that like makes you who you are. Like just the other day, I'm not going to name the names, but I was in the car, we were going to get corn dogs, and like they were like drifting the car and shit. They were drifting it hella hard. And I'm like the only reason why they kind of do that is because they're with each other and they want to like look cool to each other.
Sure.
And that's the truth. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Like, lit, bro.
No.
But, like, it kind of is something kind of wrong with that. Because if they were by themselves, they wouldn't be doing that. So they're literally just trying to, like, look cool to each other or, like, set off a fucking image. And it's just like, if you guys want to go do that, go do that. I'm not going to hold you back. Just like if you guys want to go vape or pack lips or go ding-dong ditch and then egg a person's house and then, like, do a hit and run and shit. And, like, be like, you know, and do stupid shit. Like, go do that, whatever. I can't hold you back. But it's like the only reason why they do that is because they want to impress the stupid other people that they're around, you know?
Well, if we don't have an audience, we're completely different. And you're going to find this out whether you're on stage or not. If there's nobody in that room or there's not many people looking at you and listening to you, you are going to perform differently than if they are. So we all respond to our environment with people in it. And we want to impress them sometimes. We want to be funny sometimes. We want to just fit in. All these things are completely normal. Mm-hmm. But if the people in that group are doing things that are, illegal, dangerous, etc., that changes it. That just simply changes it. Yeah. So it makes it something you have to be careful about. So there is an influence by the people you hang with and where you grow up and all that stuff, your bedroom, everything, your environment, you definitely influences. However, it's not everything, It's not everything.
Mm-hmm. And I still like those guys who I was with. Like, they're still chill. But, like, we were drifting one of the corners, and then my boy, he's literally said, I'm like, what if a car comes around? He's like, oh, it's the fun of it. Like, dude, you're dumb as shit. Like, we were drifting a car, and you're going to a blind corner, and then the guy says, and I ask, yo, what if there's a car? He's like, that's the fun of it. It's like, come on, bro, you were so much better than that. Or you're not.
Yeah, that's a person you might not want to hang with too much. I'm going to be honest with you. It's certainly not in a car.
Yeah. Well, then I think about, like, should I say this on the podcast? Bro, it's It's obvious. Like, why would I not?
Well, it's your podcast, so I think you have to be able to say whatever you want to, and if they want to comment on it or pick up on it or hear it, that's their
it's just
deal.
obvious what's the right and wrong in the situation.
Well, you don't want to put your pal's life or your life at risk if you can avoid it. I mean, that doesn't seem hard to disagree with. But some people do want to put their life at risk. That's the burn. That's the fun. That's the 100-mile-an-hour motorcycle leaning over. That's the jumping off some base with a, parachute on. We're all different, but I'm a cautious individual, really. And so I cannot imagine being that way. But some people really need that. They need that. I don't know why.
And it's not cautious with, like, a negative, like, oh, you're a pussy sense. It's like, when I say that, like, bro, what if a car comes? It's literally just being honest and, like, kind of, like, valuing my life, kind of.
Yeah.
It's, like, not like that I'm a pussy. It's like, oh, why don't you do drugs? Or, like, why don't you drift it? It's like, what, are you pussies? Like, and they don't say that. No one says that I know. But it's just, like, it's not because I'm a pussy, bro. It's because I just kind of value my life.
Well,
is that a pussy thing to do, to value my life, Dad?
No, and certainly as a parent, it's nice to hear you value your life. But it actually means you're maturing. That's what it means. You realize you have more ahead. If you end up paraplegic or something like that, or damaged really badly, then whatever hand you're holding is reduced to, a 2 and a 3 and a 5. There's no pairs in there. Your life's going to be completely different. Right now, you have a lot of possibilities and opportunities and, hope and everything, and doing something super crazy that could really hurt you. Yeah, man. I mean, that is like to be avoided. And it would be weird if you didn't avoid that, But I mean, you should treasure your life, and anybody listening, I feel the same way. You should treasure your life and treat it with respect on some level. I'm not saying don't go have fun, for Christ's sake. I'm not saying that at all. But don't put yourself in harm's way if it can be avoided. The harm will come find you. And you don't have to go looking for it. It's going to find you, just like it finds everybody at some point,
Yeah. Yeah, but I did want to bring up those Tahoe kids and stuff, because he did comment on it, and I think I gained some subscribers, and it's just like, I didn't want to talk about them or talk to them for such a long time, and I don't care. But I think a part where I've matured is that just, like, that shit doesn't have an effect on me anymore. Because honestly, on some real shit, like, I would act like something for them a lot of the time. And, like, I didn't want to talk about it because I knew it could affect me. But, like, having the podcast, this opportunity to just say, like, I don't care anymore. Like, comment on it, don't comment on it, Joey.
Sure.
Like, laugh at my shit, don't laugh at it, Joey. Like, I don't care about you anymore. And I don't want to talk to those guys anymore. And if I do, because Amani's there or whatever, good. But they don't have any control over me. And that's where I feel so good about it. So whether the podcast or anything goes good, I know that, or bad, whatever happens, it's just like, I'm free now. And that just feels so good to say that, because, like, for so long I felt like I wasn't.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Well, I think that's want you to feel free, but I do want to caution you about one thing, and that is, again, like I said earlier, you've come a long way from wherever you were back then, and these people aren't necessarily bad, and you don't have to keep up with them, and you don't have to like them. I'm not saying that.
I just don't think you know what we did.
Okay,
I
fine.
think if you know the severity of what we did, you
Okay.
would not say that.
I just mean we all have qualities that are less than awesome, and some of us just, it's again like the thing about the dog not, you have to sometimes, some people take a while to get to know, and you have to really lean in close. And some people are pretty abrasive. So you had some abrasive cats, that you ran with. So
it was fun while it lasted, but looking back on it, like, holy shit, we're dumb.
Yeah.
And when I talked to Amani about what she did with them, it's even worse than it was when I was in 8th grade.
Oh.
So it's like, it's not better some way.
Okay.
It's not like these guys are better. They're still shitty people. Like, they're not terrible people in the sense of, like, they're not bad. Like, but it's just like, I don't want to surround myself with the people who do all that shit. I'm not even going to say what they do.
Don't.
But it's just the same things. It's just the stupid same things.
No, I get it. I mean,
I bet none of them are like, just like actually work on something that's actually going to value what I think their life. Like, they're probably just partying and stuff like that. And even if they're not, they're still okay with that. So they can argue that, and someone could argue that, But whatever. I just don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care. Do whatever they're gonna do. I hope they go be successful.
Well, everybody's gonna get older, and if they're lucky, they'll change. Along the way, just like we all do. So
yeah, like I said, there's no even point in talking. Like, well, if they think this or not, it's just because it's like,
well, then don't.
Like, now I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel so free. Like, do whatever you're gonna do. Go be successful or not. Like, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do, bro.
Right.
And that feels so good because I don't care.
Good.
Good. So comment on it, not just like it.
Yeah.
Show me love or don't.
Yeah.
Collab with me or not. That's what Joey said. He said, we need to run a collab. It's like, bro, it's been 3 years since I talked to you. Like, kind of get out of here, bro. Or don't. Stay. I don't care.
But again, I am not trying to sell anything, but you might find it's more fun than you know. You never know.
What's more fun than?
Re-collaborating with somebody after a long time.
No, it will not be.
Okay, I'm just saying it could be. I'm just saying, that's all I'm saying. That's why people have reunions and stuff.
Well, I'll have a reunion with, like, the people who it wasn't in that negative environment with dead.
I got you.
Like I said, I don't think you know the severity of
you.
What it was.
I'm with you.
The negativity that went around it, the bullying, the fucking so much bad shit, bro. Putting people down because it's, like, funny.
Okay.
And, like, being nervous to do stuff. And being nervous to do things that aren't even real, and you're just making it up in your own circle that's not even real. Like, think about the podcast. If I was in that same group, would I ever have continued to post? Would I ever have made a podcast? No. Would I have ever cared about it? No. Would I even probably have cared about grades? Probably not, because they're probably philosophy, and this might be wrong, whatever, I don't care. But what I think their philosophy is, and probably what it is that, like, school doesn't matter. And cool, I don't think school doesn't matter more either. But just, like, I wouldn't be getting good grades. I probably wouldn't be, like, doing actually, like, good learning. I wouldn't value the things that I value today. And I know that's the truth, because I would have just been valuing that kind of, that lifestyle, which would have been fine. I would have been successful as fuck with that lifestyle, but I didn't want that lifestyle now.
Well, this theme of what you would have been like, or what you are like now, and you wouldn't have been like that if you did this. This theme is so going back to caveman days. This is like the human theme, and it's been said, it's been written about. I think of the poem by Robert Frost about the road not taken. Listen, if you haven't read that, you should read that, because it deals with the same thing. We are on a trajectory, and we don't know how it would be different if we hadn't done everything we've done. So when you say, if I had been back there, I probably wouldn't have made the podcast, I probably wouldn't have this or that, you might be right, but you'll never know, because you weren't there, and you're here now. So this is the reality of our life, and this is the human condition. This is the challenge for everybody every day, is what is going to happen next? How am I going to be? But trust me on this, the evolution is still ongoing. You're still changing.
Oh my God, yeah.
All of us are. Even those that don't look like they are, they're changing. So you'll never know what would have been. But I'll say this, just like that country and western song, it took every step, every bad everything to get to where I am today. So how bad could that stuff have been? It's part of your journey. It's part of your story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, we can wrap it up there, I guess.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I just wanted to get that off my chest kind of because I saw that and I was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to keep ignoring it or am I just going to be like, whatever? So, whatever happens, I guess. But thanks for getting on the pod, Dad. I had fun. I know what people wanted to see the episode.
Oh, well.
They love ya.
Hey, well, I appreciate it. I need to learn some jokes so when I'm on here, I can make funny, sometimes. But I'll work on that. Perhaps I'll do it next time. Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely hopping on the pod again sometime. But just, whenever we need you.
Okay.
Whenever you're going to be on.
All
right, so that was it. Episode 4. We're done. We're out of here. Thank you, Britt Brown, for being here, like I said again. And he'll see you around the schoolyards. And if you don't know him in person and you're just here, even more love to you. Support, baby. The Ins and Outs podcast on top. Number 1 in our hearts.
Later.
Later.